Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Ebro Trades. We'll be covering today a revised version of the Judas swing. Use this strategy to pass your prop firm challenges. This strategy is especially useful if you are someone who cannot spend the whole day in front of the charts, as you only need to open the charts for 1 or 2 hours per day, which is amazing. You know the time slot during which you have to check the charts. If a setup does not present itself during that hour window, then you can close your charts. There's no trading for the day. So it's perfect for people who have other time commitments. I'll quickly go over what the strategy is now. This video will be very quick. So I'll mark out here Asia session, which is 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. for the purpose of this strategy. And then we've got 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. over here. So this right here is 8 p.m. UTC minus 5 time. This is 2 a.m. UTC minus 5 time again. And this is 3 a.m. Now, from this window from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., which is the Asia session, let's say that price does something like this. Forms a high, forms a low, goes all over the place. Bam, that's it. So from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., we form this low, which is the Asia session low, and we form the Asia session high. In the hour from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m., we will wait for price to either sweep the low or the high. Now, let's say that neither the high nor the low are swept from the hour between 2 a.m. to 3 a.m., then the strategy is invalid, and that's it. But if the low or the high are swept, we literally wait for the low or high to be swept. As soon as it's swept, we look for an ICT entry model, which could be a market structure shift plus retracement into a fair value gap, or market structure shift plus retracement into an order block, or market structure shift on its own. But it has to be a convincing market structure shift with a series of breaks of structure after it. So let's say this fair value gap is formed. We would literally wait for price to retrace into the fair value gap, then enter long, targeting the opposite end of the liquidity. So if we swept the low, we'll be targeting the high. With this strategy, I'm always looking for 2 RR trades. So 1 to 2 risk reward for my first TP. As you know, I'm a very conservative trader. So looking for something like this, and price will tend to do this. And TP will be hit. Now, this can be done with Asia session, so 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. and then 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Or you can also do it with London and New York. But the times that we use for the sessions is tailored to this strategy and depends on the liquidity. So what I want you guys to do is find this indicator that I'm using over here, and it's called so FXN Asian Session Range by Rob Minty. So find this indicator, and then I want you guys to use these settings. So these are my inputs. So I want you guys to pause the video and copy all my settings. These are the settings that I'm using. I'm going to scroll all the way through, and you can pause and copy. And these are the settings I'm using for style. So you can see the Asian is blue, London is green, New York is gray. And that's it for this strategy. So just to revise quickly, to summarize, we set up the indicator, which is the one I've just outlined. We ensure our time zone is set to UTC minus 5. We ensure that Asian range is from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. for the purpose of this strategy. We then mark out the low and the high of the Asian range. In the hour from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m., we look for manipulation. So if we treat this as accumulation, we look for manipulation in this hour. If price does not take the low or the high, then strategy is invalid. But if the high or the low are swept, then we wait for a market structure shift plus an entry model via retracement into a fair value gap, an order block, or even just break of structure. We set our first take profit at break even if you're super conservative, or at 2 RR, and you can set subsequent TPs at higher levels. Now, to improve the win rate for this strategy, you can ensure that the trade you're taking is in line with the daily bias. I have a whole video on daily bias, so feel free to watch that. Now, before I get into the examples, I'd like to mention that the Ebro Trades Academy is now open. The 2024 cohort have just graduated, so I'm opening up spaces for 2025 now. You guys know that every time I open the spaces, I quickly close them up after 2 weeks because it gets full so quick. Look, stop wasting your time watching thousands of YouTube videos, wasting time on funded accounts and blowing them. Trading is a science. You know, it's not a whole bunch of speculation and gambling. This isn't buying and selling meme coins. This is a science. And I've distilled it to a repeatable set of steps that you can learn and practice in my course. So my course covers beginner concepts, the intermediate concepts, and the advanced concepts. It's also updated weekly with my personal setups that I don't share on YouTube. We also have a mentorship in there. So there's a private Discord. I'm in there. All the other traders are in there. We're constantly reviewing each other's trades. We are providing outlook on market insights, on strategy, on projections, on trade reviews. There's also a weekly call with myself and the rest of the guys in the cohort every week. And there is also access to one-to-one calls. I think the first 10 people that join from the 2025 cohort get a free one-to-one call with me included in the price of the mentorship, because usually that's a paid add-on. So stop wasting your time. If you're someone that is genuinely serious about making a repeatable income from the markets, I do suggest that you join, because otherwise you're just going to keep wasting your time. 2025 is going to finish, 2026 is going to come along, and you're going to be in the same place. So, you do need a mentor. I myself, when I first started trading, I was lost for years until I had a friend who showed me how to trade, and he essentially walked me through it. So if you don't have that, if you don't have a friend who can show you how to do it, who's already profitable, I do suggest that you join. Now, let's get into example one. So, example one is pretty simple. We followed the steps. So I've literally followed the steps. I set up the indicator as I showed you guys. So this is the Asian session over here. Right. I've marked out Asian session high. I've marked out Asian session low. I've marked out the hourly window in which I expect manipulation to occur. So that's 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Now I wait for price to sweep either the Asia high or the Asia low. I see that price sweeps the Asia low, and we see that, okay, we have a low, we have a lower low, we have a lower low again, and then we form a higher low over here. So as soon as I see the higher low, I know that there is a market structure shift from bearish to bullish. Now, in this case, I don't form a fair value gap or an order block. However, I do see consecutive breaks of structure to the upside. So I see I've got a high here, and I form a higher high over here. As soon as I form this higher high, I know that price has convincingly changed bias from bearish to bullish, and so I take my entry off the back of that. Long 2RR trade, put my stop loss somewhere near the Asia low, targeting 2RR. Do we hit TP? Yes, we do. And that is it for this trade. It's not complicated. I'm a very conservative trader. Look, my focus is not on making millions. My focus is on making a sustainable, respectable income every month from the markets. I'm very risk averse. My focus is on making an income as opposed to gambling. And so that's why my first TP will always be at 2, and I'll generally close my position there. And that's it for this setup. Let's do another example. So literally there was another example in the session before. So this is New York session. We've got the low of New York. So this is low. This is the high. Then in the hour after it, so from 12 to 1, do we sweep either the low or the high? Yes. We see that, okay, here's the high. What does price do? I'm on the 5-minute time frame. Price sweeps the high, and then what do we see? So we see that price sweeps the high. We've got a high, higher high, higher high. Then we have a market structure shift. We've got this higher low, and then we form a lower low, which is a market structure shift from bullish to bearish. In the process of changing bias from bullish to bearish, a fair value gap is formed, and I see this fair value gap over here. Beautiful fair value gap. As soon as I see the market structure shift and the fair value gap, I enter short on the fair value gap, targeting 2RR as my first TP, and I place my stop loss just beyond, I think this is New York session. Let me just double check that it is New York session. Style, New York session is great, correct. This is New York session. The hours have been adjusted to account for liquidity. So this is a New York session. I place my stop loss just beyond New York session high. 1 to 2 RR for my first TP. Does my TP get hit? Takes some time, but yes, TP gets hit. Ultimately, you could have set up further TPs all the way down to 1 to 4.5 RR. But I'm a conservative trader, so I closed out the rest of my position at 3 RR. And that's it for this setup. Super simple. Use the indicator to mark out the sessions, high and low. You've got 1 hour after the session where you wait for manipulation, so either the high or the low to get swept. If neither are swept, no setup to take, no trade to take. If one of them is swept, then look for market structure shift plus break of structure, or market structure shift plus retracement into a PD array. And that's it for this video. Very clear, very simple, very easy, very short, very concise. Again, if you need further support, write your questions in the comments. I'll try to answer to the best of my ability, but YouTube comments are not enough. If you need help, if you're struggling with being profitable, I highly recommend joining the Ebro Trades Academy. It's an investment. Take this seriously. It's a set of lectures. You do need to do hard work. This is not a magic formula for getting rich. Treat it like a university module. You know, people pay tens of thousands of pounds to go to uni. This is a university module. Treat it like that. Do the hard work, do the back testing, do the research, do the journaling, ask me questions, get on the weekly calls, understand how the rest of the traders are operating, the trades that are being made, how we do our projections, how we calculate our daily bias, the exact setups that I'm using. And it is a path to profitability if you are willing to put the time in. So the link to that will be in the description. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let's try to hit 5K subs. And yeah, that's it for this video. Peace.